Well, in 2020, the year of possibilities and impossibilities, the Preakness will conclude the Triple Crown this Saturday, October 3rd, at Pimlico Racetrack. And the best way to play the Preakness and play all the races is to play them through NYRA Bets. If you're not a member of NYRA Bets, head on over to NYRABets.com. We will match up to $200 of your initial bonus, and we'll also offer you a free $25 play. Use the promo code PREAK. NYRABets.com. Support racing in New York. Play through NYRA Bets. The Preakness this Saturday. Well, Tiz the Law is not going to run in there. Can't win the Triple Crown. But Authentic can win 2 legs of the Triple Crown by completing the sweep in the Preakness after winning the Kentucky Derby. And Authentic was good. He was very, very strong and very legit in the Kentucky Derby. Tiz the Law took it to him. Yes, Tiz the Law to play Authentic's game, but Authentic played it better than Tiz the Law. And don't kid yourself. Tiz the Law ran his race that day. Authentic was simply better. Mr. Big News made a run for third, and perhaps you think the pace is going to fall apart. We'll talk about that a little bit later, that maybe Mr. Big News can make his run and be more effective. We'll see. Authentic ran legitimately well. We'll see if he can come back in the Preakness, and we can see if he can run just as well, because he's going to need to run well to win it. And the case is that the horses he may have to beat in here, they have more natural speed, possibly, than Tiz the Law. So those horses aren't necessarily going to be taken out of their game. How fast will they make Authentic go? Will these horses be able to survive the pace? That's really the big question in this Preakness. And the main horse that Authentic has to deal with is a horse who was probably going to be the second choice to Kentucky Derby, and unfortunately he was not entering the Kentucky Derby, Art Collector, because of a minor foot issue, but he has been training well and he is running in the Preakness. And Art Collector's last race was the Ellis Park Derby. This followed his big win, the Bluegrass, where he beat Swiss Skydiver, who we'll talk about in just a moment. Art Collector has gotten very, very good. Won 5 straight races and all 4 races in 2020. And while he started out sprinting, he has shown to be better and better going the longer distances. And distance does not seem to be a problem for a horse that just keeps getting stronger. Art Collector has the ability to rate, but he also has enough speed to keep Authentic honest. I think Art Collector is going to be very, very tough to beat in this Preakness, and like a lot of people, I'm looking forward to this matchup. And then you throw in the Wonder Filly, Swiss Skydiver. She ducks nobody. No, she didn't run her best race in the Kentucky Oaks, but she ran pretty well that day when finishing second to She Dares the Devil, who sort of came out of nowhere with that big win. Swiss Skydiver's win in the Alabama showed the mile and 3/16. In the Preakness will be no problem. She was dominant in the Alabama. I would say the best performance of what's been a very, very strong year for this filly. And I really think at this point she's the leading contender for 3-year-old filly of the year over Gamine after her second place finish at Kentucky Oaks. Now, the question with Swiss Skydiver is she as good as these horses? When she tried Art Collector in the Bluegrass, she wasn't nearly as good as that one. She ran well, but nowhere nearly as well as Art Collector did. But also, is all the traveling, are all the hard races at some point going to take a toll on her? Well, we keep asking that question, and the answer keeps being no. So we'll see. I respect Swiss Skydiver, but I'm not going to be betting her in this year's Preakness. Let's take a look at some other horses in here. Bob Baffert was supposed to have 2 in the Kentucky Derby. His other horse, 1,000 Words, acted up in the paddock. He flipped, and he had to be scratched before the Derby. He came into the race, and now he comes in this Preakness off this 104 buyer, seemingly out-of-nowhere win in the Shared Belief at Del Mar. That figure does not hold up to scrutiny, and it's something I even talked to Andy Beyer about. He said you have to give them the numbers they got sometimes, but Honor AP didn't come back and run particularly well when he was 4th in the Kentucky Derby. And if you look at the other 2 members of this field, they're really not that good. 1,000 Words has never been nearly as good as that 104 buyer. Now, if he duplicates it, he's a big player in this race. I want to see it to believe it, and 1,000 Words is not going to be on my ticket. The question becomes, who are the players if you think the race is going to fall apart a little bit? And the horse that I'm most interested in is the number 10 Pneumatic. And we'll look at Pneumatic beating Jesus' team, who came back and finished a solid 3rd in the Jim Dandy in the Pegasus. I know Pneumatic is a more forward horse, but he doesn't have the speed of the others, and I think that he can rate here with Joe Bravo. I like this Pegasus win. I don't see any reason that he's supposed to be absolutely ineffective going the mile and 3/16, but obviously that is a bit of a question with him. Jesus' team was making up some ground on him at the end. He had a good trip in this Pegasus. He was a heavy favorite. But what I like about him is you get the feeling, looking at him, that this is the race they were pointing to all along. They took him up to Saratoga, where the Aspen barn was stabled, after running in mid-August, and this is the race you would think they were pointing to. So I think that Pneumatic is going to run very well in here. Now, whether or not he's as good as the other horses remains to be seen, and whether or not he's going to get a strong enough pace to close into, and whether or not really affected if they're not going that fast. That's one of the things I like about him. So I think Pneumatic, if you're looking for an upsetter, he's the most likely one. Others will look at Mr. Big News. I know he ran well in the Kentucky Derby. I don't know where it came from. I want to see it again, but he certainly did run well in that race. Can Jesus' team make up more ground? He didn't run that badly in the Shim Dandy, actually attending the pace. I can understand some people like him. I'm not a New York Traffic fan. I've never thought he was this good, and I think he's a more forward horse and perhaps could be part of the pace. Max Player is sort of the obvious horse if you're looking for the race to fall apart, but he didn't do any running in the Kentucky Derby, and I don't see any reason to believe he's going to class up to these. So if I'm looking for an upsetter, my upsetter will be Pneumatic, but my picks, they don't reflect an upsetter. I'm picking Art Collector on top of Authentic, Pneumatic third. I'll use him a little bit in multi-race bets, and Max Player to fill up the superfecta. But I'm thinking that this big matchup, even though there may be some pace, that Art Collector and Authentic are simply the two best horses in this race. Looking for the Preakness, and like you, I'll be playing it on NYRA Bets. If you're not a member of NYRA Bets, no better time than the present to join. Head over to NYRABets.com. Use the promo code PREAK. We will match up to $200 your initial deposit, and we'll offer you a $25 free play. Good luck in this weekend's Preakness.